Every time we go out to eat, my girlfriend orders something exotic and hates it, then expects to switch meals with me. Alright, I'm going to try to get this all out because I've been holding on to it for too long. And I honestly don't know if I'm crazy or if this is as big of a deal as it feels. I could really use some perspective on whether this is just a minor annoyance I should suck up or a full-on red flag. So here goes. This all started back when we first began dating in college. Let me introduce you to my fiancée, Sarah. She's great, don't get me wrong. She's smart, funny, creative, and generally an awesome person. But there's this one thing, this one little habit, that has slowly been driving me up the wall for years. It's always been there, like a little pebble in your shoe that you can ignore for a while until one day, you can't anymore. Sarah is what she likes to call an adventurous eater. I guess you could say she fancies herself a bit of a foodie. When we go out to eat, she always gravitates towards the weirdest, most unique items on the menu. The catch of the day, the chef's special, the seasonal tasting menu, you get the picture. I'm not opposed to trying new things myself, but here's the problem. Sarah almost never actually likes what she orders. And every single time, she ends up eyeing my plate, like a lion eyeing its next meal, and goes, "Wow, your food looks really good. Wanna trade?" For context, I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to eating out. I'm the safe order guy. I like to stick with classics, burgers, steak, chicken tenders, maybe some pasta if I'm in the mood. It's not that I'm boring or that I don't enjoy trying new things. I'm all about experimenting with food when I cook at home. But when I'm out, I want to know that what I'm paying for is going to be good. So yeah, I order the boring stuff, but at least I know it's going to taste decent, right? Anyway, this whole food switching thing has been going on since college. Back then, I thought it was kind of cute. I mean, she's quirky, right? It was one of those that's just Sarah being Sarah things at first, but here's where it started to get old. It wasn't just a one-time, oh, I made a bad choice situation. It became a pattern. Every time we went out, it was the same story. Sarah orders something adventurous, hates it, and then tries to switch plates with me. Sometimes, what she orders is fine, and I'll just suck it up and eat it. Other times, it's honestly terrible, like the time she ordered some sort of weirdly spicy octopus dish that tasted like rubber, and I had to pretend to enjoy it while she ate my perfectly cooked steak. I've brought it up before, trying to be as tactful as possible. I've said things like, "Hey, maybe just go with something you know you'll like." But she always waves me off, saying that being adventurous is part of what makes her fun and that I'm just too predictable. She thinks it's what makes her unique, and I get that. But the thing is, I don't feel like I'm being heard in this situation. I've told her, over and over again, that I don't want to switch plates every single time we go out, but it never changes. She just laugh and say, "Come on, you know me, it's part of the fun." Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with her soggy, overcooked food, feeling like a chump. This all came to a head last night. We play in this beach volleyball league with some friends, and after the game, everyone decided to hit up this local sports bar. You know the type, cheap beer, fried food, and way too many TVs playing sports from every possible angle. I'm starving by this point, so I go for something simple: chicken tenders and fries. It's a sports bar. You can't go wrong with chicken tenders, right? Sarah, on the other hand, starts scanning the menu like she's at some Michelin star restaurant. And of course, she spots the snow crab special and immediately lights up. Now, let me set the scene here. This is a divey, sticky floor sports bar. The kind of place where you just know anything that's not fried or grilled is probably going to be sketchy at best. So I straight up begged her, like, please just get something safe. I even said, "Come on, babe, it's a sports bar. Crab legs here." Really? But she just rolls her eyes and calls me boring. "Live a little," she says. "You always order the same thing." So she orders the crab legs, and I can already feel my stomach sinking. The food comes out, and as soon as the plate hits the table, I know it's a disaster. The crab legs are pale, shriveled, and honestly, they smell a little off. Sarah cracks one open, takes a bite, and immediately makes that face. You know the face I'm talking about, the one where she realizes she's made a huge mistake but doesn't want to admit it yet. Then she glances over at my plate, all wide-eyed, and I just knew what was coming next. "I don't really like these. Can we trade?" This time, I'd had enough. I was starving. I'd just spent the last 2 hours running around the beach, sweating my ass off, and all I wanted was my chicken tenders. So I said, "No, I'm not switching. You can send them back or order something else, but I'm not giving you my food." Cue the meltdown. She goes from 0 to 100 in seconds. First, she accuses me of wasting food, which come on. She's the one who ordered the damn crab legs. I didn't force her to do that. Then she starts saying I'm being selfish and uncooperative, that I should have read the room and just gone along with it like I always do. I told her, flat out, that I was tired of always giving up my food and that she needs to be responsible for her own choices. She starts crying full on, tears streaming down her face, right there in the middle of the bar. Everyone's staring at us, and I'm just sitting there like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? She demanded we leave, but I refused. I told her, no, I'm hungry. I'm eating my food. I mean, come on, I was starving. Why should I have to go home because she made a bad choice? She storms out, calls an Uber, and leaves me sitting there, eating my chicken tenders while everyone in the bar is awkwardly pretending not to notice what just happened. So there I am, sitting alone at the bar, with my plate of chicken tenders in front of me, feeling like a complete idiot. The worst part wasn't even the fact that she left in a huff and that everyone in the bar saw us implode. It was the fact that this wasn't just about chicken tenders. It never really was, right? This was about something deeper, something that had been building up for way too long, and it just hit its boiling point. I sat there in silence for a bit, not even really tasting my food, just kind of pushing it around with my fork, lost in my own head. A couple of our friends tried to give me awkward looks like they were sorry but also didn't want to get involved. I mean, what were they going to do, right? This was between me and Sarah, and I knew at that moment that I had to figure out a way to fix this. But part of me wondered, was it even fixable? After finishing my food, and by finishing, I mean forcing myself to eat even though I'd lost my appetite, I paid the bill and made my way out of the bar. The Uber app said it would take about 15 minutes to get back home, so I used that time to think about what just happened. I felt torn. On the one hand, I was relieved that I'd finally stood up for myself. For once, I hadn't let her steamroll me into giving up my food like she always did. But on the other hand, this was Sarah, the girl I loved, the person I was planning to marry. And here I was, driving home alone because I refused to trade plates. Was this really what our relationship had come to? I couldn't stop thinking about her crying at the bar. She always did this thing when she got really upset. Her face would turn bright red, and she'd get these big, fat tears that just poured down her cheeks. Seeing that always broke me a little, even when I knew she was being unreasonable. So, as much as I felt like I wasn't in the wrong, I also couldn't stand the idea of her being upset. When I got home, the apartment was empty, and her stuff was still scattered around like she'd just left in a hurry. There was no note, no text, nothing. I thought maybe she'd come back by now, but it was just me and the silence. I figured she'd gone to her best friend, Jess, because that's where she usually went when we had arguments like this. Jess always had Sarah's back, no matter what. They've been friends for years, so I couldn't even blame her. Still, I didn't like the idea of her venting to Jess, making me out to be the bad guy in all of this, but at the same time, I didn't want her to be alone. After pacing around the apartment for a while, I finally caved and called her. It rang a couple of times before she picked up, her voice soft and a little shaky, like she'd been crying for hours but was trying to keep it together. "Hey," I said, my voice more uncertain than I expected. "Hey," she replied, and for a second, there was this awkward silence between us. The kind where you both know you've been in the wrong but don't want to admit it yet. "Where are you?" I asked, even though I had a pretty good idea. "At Jess's place," she said, confirming my suspicion. I was hungry, and she made me dinner. Of course, I could practically picture Sarah sitting at Jess's kitchen table, a comforting plate of food in front of her, Jess telling her that everything was going to be fine, that I was the jerk in this situation. I clenched my jaw for a second because, yeah, part of me felt like I should have been the one feeding her, but also, this was her doing. She made the choice, she ordered the food. and I wasn't about to apologize for not trading my meal with her. But still, there she was, eating dinner that her best friend had made her while I was at home alone, replaying the whole thing in my head. "I'm glad you're eating," I said, trying to sound neutral even though a little bit of resentment slipped through. "Yeah," she mumbled. Another pause. I could hear her shifting around on the other end of the line like she was waiting for me to say something important, to make this all better. But what was I supposed to say? I was really upset, okay? I didn't mean for it to get so out of hand. "I know," I said. "But Sarah, I'm tired of this. It's not just about the food, it's about the fact that every time we go out, because you order food and then want to switch with me. I love you, but it's frustrating. I don't want to keep doing this." I took a deep breath, feeling the tension start to melt away just a little. "Look, I don't want to fight about this anymore. Why don't we meet somewhere tomorrow? I don't care where, we can go to a restaurant you like, and we can talk this out in person. I miss you, okay?" She sniffled a bit, clearly still emotional, but I could hear the relief in her voice when she replied. "Yeah, I'd like that. I miss you too. Maybe we can go to that little Italian place by the park." "Sounds perfect," I said, feeling a sense of hope creep back in. "We'll meet there at 6. 6 is good," she agreed. So, the next day rolls around, and I'm heading to meet Sarah at this little Italian place near the park. It's one of those cozy spots where they have checkered tablecloths and bottles of olive oil on every table. The type of place where you can't really go wrong, right? But as I'm walking there, all I can think about is how this might play out. I know Sarah. I know she's going to get tempted by something exotic on the menu, even after everything we talked about the night before. She might start off acting like she's going to stick to something simple, but I can already see it. She's going to order something wild, hate it, and want to swap with me. But this time, I've got a plan. I'm not about to be blindsided. I love Sarah, but I've learned how to anticipate these things. So, I decide to play along kind of. Instead of my usual safe order, I'm going to throw her off. I'm going to order something adventurous, too, something I wouldn't normally get. That way, when she inevitably asks to switch, I'll be ready. I get to the restaurant a little early, and she shows up right on time, looking all cute like nothing had happened the night before. She's in a good mood, which is a relief because I wasn't sure what kind of energy she'd be bringing after that meltdown at the bar. We hug, and I can tell she's a little nervous, but we sit down and things seem fine. The awkwardness from the night before is still hanging in the air a bit, but we're both trying to push past it. "So, what are you thinking of ordering?" I ask her, as casually as I can. She picks up the menu and starts glancing through it, flipping back and forth between the pages. At first, she's eyeing the pasta section, the safe zone. I'm watching her closely, and for a second, I think maybe she just orders something normal, and we can avoid all the drama. But then, I see her gaze shift. She's drifting past the regular spaghetti and chicken parm, and now she's staring hard at the chef's special section. My internal alarms start going off. "Oh, wow, they have squid ink risotto," she says, her eyes lighting up. "Here we go." "That sounds interesting," I say, trying not to let on that I know exactly where this is heading. "I've never had it before. Do you think it's good?" she asks, half to me, half to herself. "It could be," I say, keeping my tone neutral. "But you might want to stick to something you know you'll like." "I dunno," she replies, already starting to justify it to herself. "I've always wanted to try something like that. Maybe I'll give it a shot." She's locked in now. I can see it in her eyes. There's no turning back. I just nod, letting her make the choice. Meanwhile, I'm already planning my move. When the waiter comes over, she orders the squid ink risotto, full of confidence, and I casually throw in my own wild card, a seafood pasta with anchovies, capers, and mussels. Not exactly chicken tenders. The waiter takes our menus, and we settle into some small talk, but I can tell she's getting excited about the risotto. She's talking about how she wants to be more adventurous and how she's glad we're past the fight from the night before, and honestly, I'm glad too. It feels good to be on the same page, or at least to seem like we are, but deep down, I know what's coming. When the food finally arrives, the waiter places the black, inky risotto in front of her, and I get my seafood pasta. It smells great, but I already know what my strategy is. Sarah picks up her fork, eyes wide with anticipation, and takes the first bite. I'm watching her out of the corner of my eye as I twirl some pasta onto my fork, pretending like I'm totally absorbed in my own dish. Her face immediately scrunches up, just slightly at first, but it's enough to tell me everything I need to know. She tries another bite, then another, but it's not long before she sets her fork down with a frustrated sigh. I don't think I like this, she says, almost like she's disappointed in herself for not liking it. It's really salty and kind of, I don't know, inky. I hold back a smile. This is exactly what I expected. Do you want to switch? She asks, her voice tinged with hope. I'm sure your pasta's good. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I pause for a second, like I'm considering it, then I nod. Sure, let's switch. She beams at me, thinking everything is back to normal, and we trade plates. But the second she takes a bite of my dish, her face falls. Her eyes widen, and I can tell she's trying hard to hide her shock. This has anchovies, she stammers. Yup, I say, keeping my tone casual. And mussels, it's pretty strong. She stares at the plate in front of her, clearly regretting everything. I take a bite of the squid ink risotto just to sell the whole thing, and to be fair, it's not great. But I power through it, keeping my expression neutral. So, do you want to switch back? She asks, her voice now a little sheepish. I shake my head, smiling just a bit. Nah, I'm good with this. Let's just finish what we've got. I can tell she's completely caught off guard. She doesn't say anything for a minute, just picks at the anchovies and capers on her plate, clearly struggling. The tables have turned, and she's realizing now that maybe switching meals isn't always the easy fix she thought it was. And honestly, it feels kind of good to see her finally understand what I've been dealing with. After a while, she puts her fork down again and sighs. I think I made a mistake, she admits, glancing up at me. I think so too, I say, trying not to sound smug but failing just a little. We both laugh, the tension breaking a bit, but I can see she's still wrestling with her decision. We finish our meals in relative silence, and by the time the check comes, she's quiet. I can tell she's processing everything that just happened, and I'm really hoping that this might finally be the moment where she learns her lesson. When we leave the restaurant, she slips her arm through mine, and we walk back to the car together. I'm sorry, she says after a while, for always doing this. I didn't realize how frustrating it must have been for you. I appreciate that, I say, squeezing her hand gently. But you've got to start owning your choices. I can't always be the backup plan. She nods, and for the first time in a while, I feel like she really gets it. It's a small victory, but it feels like a big step forward. Maybe next time we go out to eat, she'd think twice before ordering something crazy. And if not, well, at least I know how to handle it now.